The cycle is entirely predictable. Your paycheck hits the account, and for exactly 3 days, you breathe a sigh of relief. You feel in control. But by the second week, money thins out, guilt creeps in, and by month's end, the familiar anxiety hits. We routinely tell ourselves that this is just how life works. We assume that a slightly higher income would permanently solve the panic. If money fails to stay in your account, look at the behavior rather than the salary. Money acts as a magnifying glass. If your baseline personality is impulsive, your bank statement will simply reflect that impulsivity at a larger scale. To understand the physics of your personal finances, imagine your financial life as a motorcycle. Take a look at this schematic of a motorcycle's fuel system. The engine represents your income, and the road ahead is your opportunity. But the fuel tank is compromised by microscopic holes. These are your variable, ego-driven expenses, slowly draining your resources. We blame our financial stress on fixed expenses like rent and utility bills. However, the real damage happens in these tiny punctures: the random food deliveries, the online shopping out of boredom, the unused subscriptions. These daily micro-decisions create a massive systemic vortex of loss. It makes no difference how much fuel you pump into a tank with holes in it. This mechanical failure guarantees that you will never reach your financial stability, no matter how hard you rev the engine. So why do we continually puncture our own tanks? The root cause is our fatal reliance on a single flawed concept: discipline. Relying on discipline is a biological mistake. Willpower is a finite resource. It gets exhausted after a long day at the office. It ignores your long-term goals. And when you are under stress, it defaults to making highly emotional decisions. Picture this choice. On a pedestal sits an overripe banana, representing instant gratification. Right next to it is a solid gold coin, representing future wealth. An uneducated monkey grabs the banana every time, out of evolutionary ignorance. It has no concept of future value. But when you buy something you don't need on a random Tuesday evening, you are making the exact same choice, despite knowing the math. Our brains are evolutionarily hardwired to prioritize a quick hit of present-day dopamine over abstract future wealth. Relying purely on willpower to fight millions of years of biology is a guaranteed loss. The modern banking industry understands this present bias perfectly. They exploit our biology through two massive systemic traps: the EMI and the illusion of safety. First is the EMI, a loan structure that breaks a large purchase into smaller, recurring monthly payments. It is a psychological trick designed to obscure the total cost of a luxury item by focusing your attention entirely on the monthly installment. Every payment on that phone pawns your future physical energy. You are trading months of future labor for a brief moment of social relief today. The second massive error sits on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's the belief that leaving your money stagnant in a checking account is the only way to avoid market risk. This chart exposes the hidden predator inside that perceived safety. The flat blue line shows your untouched savings, but the red line is inflation, the persistent rate at which the cost of living increases. By avoiding the market, you ensure that inflation steadily and aggressively eats the purchasing power of your cash. Borrowing money to signal social status and hiding your cash from market risk achieves the exact same mathematical result. Both methods actively destroy your future leverage. The absolute antidote to our flawed biology is system automation. Wealthy individuals do not possess superhuman willpower. They simply build more efficient machines. The unbreakable core rule of this machine is that savings can never be whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month. The precise second your salary hits your account, your savings must be automatically deducted without a single manual click. Look at this 50-30-20 schematic. Your income is mechanically divided: 50% for rigid needs, 30% for flexible wants. The final 20% drops into a growth vault, automatically feeding into SIPs. This captures the mathematical magic of compounding interest over time. By completely removing human emotion and manual effort from the equation, you successfully cage your impulsive brain and mathematically guarantee that your wealth accumulates. This automated system allows you to build what is traditionally called an emergency fund. But we should redefine this as a self-respect account. This capital provides engineered leverage. It grants you the mobility to resign from a toxic office environment or spend 3 months learning a new skill without the immediate threat of insolvency. To audit your current reality, try putting yourself through 2 mental exercises, the Salary Zero test and the 24-hour monkey test. First, imagine your salary drops to absolute zero tomorrow. This instantly clarifies which expenses are actually essential. Second, force a mandatory 24-hour waiting period on any non-essential purchase. By the time the clock runs out, the impulse to buy usually dies. Financial abundance is the byproduct of eliminating unforced errors. When you replace fragile human discipline with automated systems, you transition from being a passenger in your financial life to being its lead engineer.